Yeah, we're talking about Under Armour, and the reason for that is Nike reports their fiscal 2020 results on September 24th, so that's next week, which is a big name. Earnings is not over next week, which is exciting. So this is really interesting because if you look at a chart comparing Nike to Under Armour, you can see that Under Armour is by far a more unstable name. Nike definitely offers that stability. Despite the fact that we've seen some good partnerships with Under Armour, it doesn't really seem to be, I mean, you can see the dive it made. Now they're kind of coming closer together, as you can see, as of lately. But Megan, I'm curious if you see this reflected at all in your data.
You know, it's interesting. When we look at Under Armour, we're listening for people talking about buying Under Armour branded athletic gear. They also have a collaboration with The Rock, so Project Rock. These are included in these mentions. And what we see is it's actually a year-over-year decline for Under Armour. I think that this is in line with what they've previously reported as well. You know, when you look at that chart, it looks like there's a little bit of an uptick, but honestly, that's seasonality involved. You know, you expect a little bit of uptick going in through the summer and back to school and things like that. So in all, really, it's almost a negative divergence as opposed to positive when you look at how the actual stock has performed in the last year. I think it's actually down 10% year over year from today, whereas purchase intent is, the stock is actually up 10% year over year from today, whereas the purchase intent is down about 6%. So we're not seeing a lot of strength from the Under Armour brand. And in comparison, we actually are seeing strength from Nike.
You know, it's interesting, Megan, because we compare Under Armour and Nike a lot, but they've really come into the business in two opposite directions. Nike was shoes, Under Armour was apparel, and then obviously, Nike is a behemoth. What is it? About 4 times the size in terms of float, in terms of the stock. 450 million for Under Armour, and I think it's 1.6 billion. Yeah, right around 1.6 billion. So you're talking about a massive company. But Under Armour has gone through some serious growing pains. And this company, as though they have high quality, you know, they're not the highest quality anymore. That's Lululemon, right? They're not the lowest price point. That's Nike. They don't have a massive online shopping like Nike, but they're trying to find their niche. And so far, even though it's a popular brand, they're not there yet.
No, I think you're exactly right. You know, when we look at volume for these two, I tried to put Nike and Under Armour on the same chart, but they're not even in the same ballpark, right? Like you can't even chart them next to each other. And I think that that's, you know, they just have two totally different feels as companies too. Whenever you look at Nike, you know, they take a bolder approach when it comes to their marketing, when it comes to the athletes who represent them and the sponsorships and things like that. I think that they take a little bit of a hit on sentiment because they're willing to make those more political stances, but Under Armour plays it more relatively safe. Their sentiment is pretty stable and actually higher than Nike's, but they have a much smaller consumer base. And honestly, we're just not seeing a positive trend from Under Armour right now. We're actually seeing accelerated losses from them.
No, you mentioned some of the athletic endorsements that Under Armour has. And if you read some of them, you're like, these are really, really big names. You got Steph Curry, you got Tom Brady, you got Jordan Spieth. But then you start reading some of the Nike names. They got LeBron James. They got, you know, Odell Beckham Jr. They have Tiger Woods. They have Brooks Koepka. They have all the names. Under Armour's done really well, but it's still Nike versus Under Armour. But this Rock endorsement could be huge. I mean, you're looking at The Rock, he's one of the biggest names in social media.
And I feel like he's everywhere, right? So that's what our first tweet is about. It was from Jeff Mackey, who's actually responding to Andy, who says, The Rock has whatever the story demands at any given moment in his pocket, because he's The Rock. AAA batteries, check. Phillips head screwdrivers, yes, but that's just The Rock. Under Armour has built out the Rock brand. Full lineup out today, it'll do well. So Megan, I'm really curious if you've seen a consumer purchase intent uptick after The Rock kind of made this announcement that he's partnering with Under Armour.
You know, this is something, it's called Project Rock, and I believe that it's a partnership between Under Armour but also Dick's Sporting Goods. And we've been watching it for a couple of years. They've been working with The Rock for a while now, and whenever it was first announced, you know, we did see some growth, but honestly, recently, we've seen a little bit of stagnation with that. So maybe this new line that they just dropped, you know, that's something we're watching for. But I don't know if you looked at any of the products that they launched. I think one that Mackie shared were a pair of cargo sweats. I don't know what the demand for that item is going to be, but I think it is a good thing for Under Armour to have The Rock and a following like that in their pocket.
Yeah, cargo sweats. I'm going to call that hard pass. Cargo sweats.
Okay, they're similar to joggers, but it seems like I saw the cargo sweats on Twitter this morning, Megan. It seems like they could take a few lessons from Lululemon, who does a really good job in athleisure. But our next tweet says, I wonder how big of a deal the Warriors being bad will hurt Under Armour sales, losing a lot of free marketing dollars without a playoff run. So I'm curious, okay, you guys are experts in this and I am not. So will this matter at all to a stock like Under Armour?
It's probably too early to say they're bad yet. I don't know, Kevin, how big of an NBA fan you are. They still have some of the bigger names in the sport. Obviously, Steph Curry's a big athlete for Under Armour. But coming back to The Rock, though, I mean, The Rock is a massive name. How much is I don't know how much you know, Megan, about this, but how much is it The Rock's brand, or is it truly a mutual partnership with Under Armour?
I believe it is truly a mutual partnership. It's called Project Rock. I know that The Rock himself promotes this pretty widely. We do a lot of, volume checks, these spike checks, and most of the time on Under Armour, whenever we see these big spikes, it's when The Rock himself is promoting that brand on his own personal Twitter and things of that nature. So I think that it's positive that they have that marketing push at their mercy, if you will, but honestly, we're just not seeing those conversions lifting Under Armour's overall purchase intent yet.
Yeah, The Rock has his own section at Dick's Sporting Goods with The Rock Under Armour gear. But I think here's the biggest problem with Under Armour as we compare to Nike. And you're right, Megan. There is no comparison right now. It's this. You were right. Under Armour has Jordan Spieth, right? The pro golfer. Nike has every other golfer on tour.
Well, and Jordan hasn't done that great lately.
Right.
Either.
So, I mean, they have all their eggs in these one baskets, and Nike has everybody. Like the last major championship, the three leaders coming down the stretch at the end were all Nike athletes. I mean, all three of them. So, I mean, it's just not, you're right, it's not comparable right now as it sits.
And Megan, as we let you go, you did mention kind of the divergence between the purchase intent and the stock price. And, this has been a pretty steady downtrend. Is this one where you just need to wait a little bit and see if you get a continued uptick? Or, as you said, is it just seasonal? And right now, it doesn't look like a good story.
Yeah, right now it's not setting up nicely for Under Armour. I believe their quarter ends in a couple weeks at the end of September, and currently we're showing a negative pace year over year. I think that's in line with what the company has, warned that they're actually going to see some declines specifically in North America. So that's not a good thing for Under Armour. We'll definitely watch in these next few weeks to see if people, rush to the stores to buy Project Rock, but I'm not sure that that's going to be able to make up for the damage that's already done.
We've been talking a lot of negative about Under Armour, and it seems like the sentiment is negative, but I'm going to tell you one thing. If you watch trends, and I do because I like athletic wear.
Because you're so hip.
Right. I am major hip, if you know. But here's the thing. Every little kid, go to a mall and look at every little kid. They all have Under Armour on. Every little kid.
Well, less and less people are going to malls.
The problem is malls.
You know what? Let me change that to anywhere you go. Anything you go to, all the little kids have Under Armour clothes.
We got to leave it there, Megan. Great stuff. We'll keep our eyes on Under Armour. They have earnings on November 4th, so maybe we'll come back to this conversation around that time and see if anything's changed.